Introduction. Let's be honest. In long-term relationships, the initial excitement tends to fade over time. At first, everything feels fresh and new, but after a while, routines settle in, and the spark that once made every moment feel electric can start to feel a little predictable. You're still in love, but the thrill of the unknown starts to slip away. You might be wondering how you keep things exciting, especially when you've been together for a while. Well, here's something a lot of guys don't realize. Women crave the unexpected, even after years together. It's not about changing everything overnight. It's about understanding that the longer she's with you, the more she craves emotional stimulation. Things that go beyond just physical pleasure or routine sex. She's looking for the moments that keep her on her toes, that make her feel desired in ways that are playful, spontaneous, and emotionally engaging. It's not new sex that she wants. It's new emotional experiences. The more you can surprise her emotionally, the more she'll feel connected to you. And the more connected she feels, the more the intimacy between you will thrive. In today's video, we're going to dive into how you can create emotional excitement and unpredictability in your long-term relationship. It's not about big gestures or trying to be someone you're not. It's about bringing small, unexpected emotional experiences into your routine. Whether it's a simple surprise, a playful moment, or breaking out of your normal routine, these things will help you keep the spark alive. So, if you're wondering how to make your relationship feel fresh again and keep her excited about you emotionally, stick around. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of how the unexpected can truly fuel deeper emotional connections, no matter how long you've been together. Let's get into it. Point 1. Predictability leads to boredom. Let's face it, predictability can be comforting, but it can also be a silent killer for excitement in a relationship. In the beginning, everything is new and thrilling. The first date, the first kiss, those early mornings together. Everything feels fresh, full of potential. But after months or even years together, things can start to feel routine. The same patterns, the same schedule, the same conversations. What was once new and exciting begins to feel, well, a little predictable. And while predictability in some areas of life can be reassuring, when it comes to emotional connection, it can actually lead to boredom. Women don't just want the same old routine, even if it's comfortable. Over time, that predictability can feel like a wall between you two, making it harder to feel that same spark of excitement. This doesn't mean she's bored with you or that she doesn't love you. Far from it. It just means that, like anyone, she craves more emotional stimulation to keep the connection alive and thriving. Here's an example. Think about your typical day together. Maybe you wake up, have coffee, talk about your plans, and go through the motions. The kisses are still there, but they're often quick, routine, almost automatic. You know how the day is going to play out, and so does she. Nothing feels unexpected. Now, compare that to a time when you tried something different, a surprise date, a random act of affection, or a spontaneous adventure. You both felt more connected, didn't you? That's the kind of emotional stimulation women are craving, the kind that shakes things up and breaks the predictable cycle. You see, it's not just about the physical acts or the newness of the relationship. It's about bringing variety and surprise into the emotional connection. It's the little moments that show you're thinking about her in new, unexpected ways. When everything is predictable, both partners tend to go on autopilot, especially when it comes to emotional intimacy. But when you introduce something unexpected, whether it's a compliment out of nowhere, a small surprise gesture, or a playful moment, you immediately create emotional engagement and spark a renewed sense of connection. For example, let's say you've been with your partner for a few years. You probably got your routine, right? But here's a simple way to break out of that predictability. Instead of same old, how was your day? When she gets home, ask her something more unique. Maybe, what's something that made you smile today? Or, tell me something that made you feel proud today. It's an easy way to introduce a new level of emotional intimacy without overcomplicating things. Just by changing the way you engage emotionally, you can break free from predictable patterns that often lead to boredom. Another example could be something simple, like leaving her a note with a small surprise, or initiating a date night that's not part of your usual routine. The goal isn't to turn everything upside down, but to show her that you're still thinking about new ways to keep the emotional connection alive and exciting. Predictability leads to boredom because it doesn't challenge you emotionally. When things become too predictable, we stop noticing the little things. We stop seeking out new ways to make each other feel appreciated and desired. But when you create emotional unpredictability, when you shake up the routine with something spontaneous, it brings back that excitement of newness, but in a deeper, more meaningful way. To sum it up, while predictability is great for some parts of life, in relationships, it can lead to emotional complacency. Women need more than just comfort. They need to feel engaged emotionally, to experience the unexpected that keeps the relationship dynamic and fulfilling. Breaking free from the routine doesn't mean reinventing everything. It just means embracing small, emotional surprises that keep the bond between you fresh and exciting. It's the unexpected emotional moments that spark real connection and prevent the relationship from slipping into boredom. Point 2. Emotional stimulation versus physical routine. When it comes to long-term relationships, emotional stimulation is often the key to keeping things exciting, while physical routine can start to feel, well, a little predictable. Sure, physical intimacy is essential, but if you're stuck in a physical routine without adding any emotional depth or stimulation, things can quickly start to feel mechanical. The magic, the spark, the excitement, it all lies in creating emotional moments that go beyond the physical. Emotional stimulation doesn't mean grand gestures all the time. It's about keeping the emotional connection alive. Women often want more than just the same physical moves every time they're together. They want to feel emotionally connected, valued, and emotionally stimulated. And the beauty of emotional stimulation is that it can be simple. It's about breaking away from the routine and showing her that you're still invested in how she feels, not just how things physically play out. For instance, think about a time when you've been with her and the physical aspect was great, but emotionally, it felt a little flat. Maybe everything was fine on the surface, but there wasn't much excitement in the emotional exchange. The kiss was the same, the way you held each other was familiar, and even the conversation felt predictable. It wasn't bad, it was just routine. Now, imagine a different scenario. Maybe you surprised her with a compliment or said something spontaneous like, "I've been thinking about how much I appreciate you today," or, "I love the way you make me feel special when you do that." That small shift in focus from the physical to the emotional creates a new layer of excitement. You're making her feel emotionally engaged, not just physically engaged. And that's where the spark lies. The reason emotional stimulation works so well is that it taps into something deeper than the physical routine. It's about intention. Showing her that you care, that you're paying attention to her emotions and how she's feeling in that moment. Women often crave this deeper emotional connection because it makes them feel desired on a more profound level, not just as a physical partner, but as someone you truly care about. Think about how emotional moments create emotional highs in a relationship. These can be simple things like asking how she feels after a long day, sharing something personal about your own feelings, or telling her something sweet that comes from the heart. Emotional stimulation is about keeping her on her toes mentally and emotionally, giving her something to look forward to that isn't just the same physical act. An example of this might be when you plan something out of the ordinary that engages both of you emotionally, like a surprise evening where you reflect on your favorite memories together, or something spontaneous like leaving a note or message out of the blue, just to remind her how much she means to you. These small gestures keep the emotional connection fresh and exciting, ensuring that the bond goes deeper than just the physical aspect of your relationship. Physical routine can feel like you're going through the motions, checking things off a list. It's comfortable, yes, but comfort without emotional depth can eventually lead to stagnation. Think about how a moment can be both physically thrilling and emotionally intense. That's the sweet spot. For example, a simple kiss. But instead of just going through the motions, you really look into her eyes and let her feel how much you care for her, not just how much you want her physically. You might hold her a little longer, smile, and let the moment last. That's emotional stimulation. It's making her feel something beyond the touch, beyond the routine. The problem with relying only on physical routine is that it becomes predictable and doesn't provide the excitement or the emotional highs that unpredictability and emotional engagement bring. Emotional stimulation helps prevent the feeling that the relationship is stuck in a loop. It helps both partners feel emotionally connected, mentally engaged, and excited to keep creating new moments together. In conclusion, emotional stimulation is about connecting on a deeper, more meaningful level beyond the physical acts. It's the spontaneity, the emotional highs, the moments when you make her feel like she's not just going through the motions with you, but that you're both actively invested in each other's emotional world. By adding emotional stimulation to the relationship, you break free from the predictability of physical routine, creating a deeper connection that keeps things exciting, fresh, and ultimately more fulfilling. Point 3. The power of spontaneity. Let's talk about something that can truly ignite the spark in your relationship: spontaneity. In long-term relationships, one of the quickest ways to keep things exciting and emotionally engaging is to embrace the unexpected. Sure, routines and schedules are necessary, but when everything becomes too predictable, it's easy for both partners to feel like they're on autopilot. That's where spontaneity comes in. It's about shaking things up, surprising her in ways she doesn't expect, and keeping the emotional connection alive and fresh. Now, spontaneity doesn't have to mean doing something extreme or over the top every time. It can be as simple as breaking away from the usual patterns and doing something unexpected that grabs her attention and makes her feel special. It's not about the size of the gesture, but the emotional impact it has, surprising her in a way that excites her emotionally, not just physically. Think about this. You're having a regular day together. Everything seems normal, right? But out of nowhere, you decide to surprise her with something that shows you're thinking about her in a fresh way. Maybe it's as simple as sending a sweet text. "I've been thinking about how lucky I am to have you." Or perhaps you decide to make an impromptu dinner date, taking her to a spot she loves but hasn't visited in a while. The idea is to interrupt the predictable with something thoughtful and spontaneous that lets her know you're still deeply engaged with her on an emotional level. The power of spontaneity lies in the surprise element. It keeps her emotionally intrigued. It shows that you're not taking a relationship for granted, and that you still care about keeping things exciting, even after time has passed. Women, especially in long-term relationships, often crave the emotional thrill of the unexpected. You don't have to reinvent the wheel each time. Instead, it's about doing something fresh that makes her feel appreciated and desired in new ways. For example, think about the last time you did something unexpected for her. Maybe you planned an impromptu road trip, or simply brought her flowers just because. Rewrite. Clarity plus flow improved. Structure intact. How did she react? There was likely a moment of surprise, joy, and connection. That's the emotional energy spontaneity creates. It interrupts the routine and turns an ordinary day into something memorable, something she'll look back on with a smile. These spontaneous moments show that you're not just going through the motions. You're actively creating new experiences and emotional connections. Spontaneity doesn't have to be a big, life-changing event every time. Sometimes, it's just about stepping outside your usual behavior. For example, if you typically have a set way of texting her during the day, change it up with something unexpected. Send a voice note instead of text, or a silly meme just to make her laugh. These small, spontaneous actions make her feel like she's always on your mind in unexpected ways, keeping the emotional connection dynamic. Spontaneity also allows you to reignite the spark without feeling like you're forcing anything. The key is to be authentic. It's about making her feel cherished and excited by breaking the mold of what's become the norm. Surprise her with your attention, your care, your spontaneity, and watch how it deepens the emotional bond. It could be something as simple as cooking her favorite meal when she least expects it, or taking her to a new place that feels fresh and exciting. You're not trying to reinvent your relationship. You're simply keeping it alive with the unexpected. What makes spontaneity even more powerful is that it creates a sense of adventure in the relationship. It sparks curiosity, making her wonder, what's next? This is particularly important in long-term relationships where the excitement can sometimes feel like it's plateaued. By creating these small surprises and emotional highs, you're always leaving room for something new to happen, keeping the relationship from ever feeling stagnant. In summary, spontaneity is a secret weapon for keeping the emotional connection strong and exciting in long-term relationships. It's about breaking free from predictable routine and bringing in moments of surprise and thoughtfulness that remind her of your emotional depth. You don't need to do anything extreme. Small, spontaneous gestures can have the biggest emotional impact. The next time you want to reignite that spark, remember, spontaneity is the key. Surprise her. Keep her on her toes, and watch how the emotional connection between you both grows stronger and more exciting. Point 4. Emotional teasing keeps her interested. Let's dive into something that might seem a bit playful, but is actually incredibly powerful when it comes to keeping the emotional connection strong in a long-term relationship. Emotional teasing. Now, this isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about creating moments of emotional excitement that keep her intrigued and engaged in a fun, flirty way. Emotional teasing is like the playful banter that keeps the energy between you two fresh, even when you've been together for a while. Emotional teasing is about subtle, light-hearted interactions that make her feel wanted and keep her on her toes. It's about giving her just enough attention to make her feel special, without laying everything on the table all at once. It's the art of balancing closeness and mystery, which keeps her emotionally intrigued. This is something that can keep her interested and excited about you, even after the initial honeymoon phase has passed. Here's how it works. Think about how you interact when you're joking around with each other, when you're playful. It creates a sense of emotional intimacy without putting too much pressure on the relationship. For example, maybe you tease her about something small and playful, like how she always steals your hoodie or how she's always a bit late to dates. But you do it with a smile, with affection. It's not about criticizing or poking fun. It's about keeping things light, keeping the mood fun, and reminding her that you still see her in a playful, endearing way. This kind of teasing can also be used in more intimate moments. A lot of the time, physical intimacy can feel predictable, but emotional teasing can turn it up a notch. For instance, saying something playful like, "You're making it hard to focus on anything but you right now," adds a layer of excitement and flirtation to what might have been a routine moment. This makes her feel wanted and special, but in a teasing, emotionally engaging way, which sparks interest and builds a connection even more. One of the best things about emotional teasing is that it can make her feel both desired and playful, which creates a fun atmosphere. It's also a great way to break the ice when things might feel too serious or routine. Imagine this. If you're in a situation where things have gotten a little too comfortable, maybe even a bit too serious, a little playful tease can add a spark of energy that reminds her that you're still exciting, still fun to be with. It doesn't have to be big. It's just the subtle, emotionally playful moments that make her feel that little thrill of attraction again. Here's a great example of how this might play out in real life. Let's say you're on a date and she's wearing something you really like. Instead of just complimenting her, you might say something like, "You know, you wear that outfit too well. You're making it really hard for me to concentrate." It's flirtatious, it's playful, but most importantly, it keeps her feeling emotionally engaged and excited about the dynamic between you. Emotional teasing also helps build tension and anticipation. This doesn't have to be sexual tension, although it can be. It's the idea of creating a dynamic that keeps her interested, keeps her wondering what you'll do next, and keeps her feeling emotionally stimulated. It's not about saying too much or revealing everything all at once. Instead, it's about building a fun, emotionally engaging exchange that makes her want more of your attention, more of your time, and more of that emotional connection. And let's be real, this type of teasing can also boost her confidence. When you tease her playfully, you're telling her that she's interesting, worth paying attention to, and still captivating. It's a gentle reminder that you still find her fun, exciting, and worth pursuing, even after time has passed. In conclusion, emotional teasing is an incredibly effective way to keep the emotional connection fresh and exciting. It's not about being sarcastic or mean-spirited. It's about being playful, engaging, and showing her that you still find her intriguing, even after all the time spent together. Emotional teasing keeps the energy alive by adding fun, flirtation, and emotional stimulation to your relationship. So, the next time you're with her, try incorporating a little playful teasing. Watch how it sparks interest, deepens your connection, and keeps her emotionally invested in you. Point 5. Creating new emotional experiences together. One of the most powerful ways to keep the emotional connection alive in a long-term relationship is by creating new emotional experiences together. It's easy to fall into the trap of routine, doing the same things over and over, following the same patterns. But when you share new experiences with your partner, you build a deeper emotional bond that goes beyond the everyday. These moments of discovery not only create fresh memories, but they also bring both of you closer, giving you something exciting to look forward to and something meaningful to share. So, what do we mean by new emotional experiences? It's about stepping outside your usual routine and finding ways to connect emotionally in fresh, meaningful ways. This doesn't mean you have to completely reinvent your relationship. It's about creating moments that surprise both of you and make you feel more emotionally engaged. Think of it as a way to inject some excitement and novelty into your connection without changing who you are as a couple. For example, let's say you both have a busy life, and your time together has become focused mostly on the basics: work, chores, errands, and maybe the occasional movie night. While those things are important, they don't exactly create a thrilling emotional connection. But when you decide to do something new, whether it's taking a spontaneous trip, trying new activity together, or even learning a new hobby, you're not only sharing an experience, but also creating emotional memories that can strengthen your bond. Imagine this. You and your partner decide to take a weekend road trip to a town neither of you has visited before. The spontaneity and newness of the experience will bring out excitement, curiosity, and adventure. You'll share moments of laughter, maybe get lost together, and create memories that you'll talk about for years to come. Those are the types of experiences that keep the relationship from becoming stale. The emotionally intense experiences you create through these shared adventures give both of you something to reflect on and reconnect over long after the trip is over. But it's not just about big trips or grand gestures. New emotional experiences can come from simple, everyday activities that allow both of you to see each other in a new light. For example, you could try cooking a new recipe together, take a dance class, or even just go for a walk in a park you've never visited before. The key is that these shared experiences break the monotony of your usual routine and give both of you something new to experience, feel, and talk about. The emotional stimulation comes from doing something different and feeling a sense of accomplishment and connection together. These new emotional experiences don't need to be planned months in advance or be expensive. They just need to be intentional. It's about making time to connect in new ways, to create moments that both of you can cherish, and to get out of the comfort zone of routine. Even small surprises like having a spontaneous picnic or sending her a thoughtful note during the day can be ways to create new emotional connections that bring you closer together. Another great example of creating emotional experiences together is by sharing something personal. It could be opening up about past experiences, sharing dreams for the future, or just talking about things that matter to both of you. These moments of vulnerability can be incredibly powerful in long-term relationships, as they allow you both to connect on a deeper, more emotional level. When you share personal feelings or reflections, it creates a sense of closeness and trust that strengthens your emotional bond. Creating new emotional experiences is not about finding new things to do every day. It's about ensuring that there is always room for novelty and depth in your emotional connection. Whether it's through small, meaningful gestures or big, shared adventures, the key is to keep creating moments that feel new and exciting. These experiences will leave you both feeling more engaged, more connected, and more emotionally fulfilled. In conclusion, the longer you're together, the more you need to create new emotional experiences to keep the relationship vibrant and full of life. It's not about grand plans or drastic changes. It's about finding ways to connect in fresh, meaningful ways that keep the excitement alive. The emotional intimacy that you build through these shared experiences will make the relationship feel new and exciting, no matter how long you've been together. So, take a step outside the routine, plan something spontaneous, and create those emotional moments that will bring you both closer than ever before. Conclusion. As we wrap up today's video, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned about keeping emotional connection strong in long-term relationships. The longer you're with someone, the more you need to bring unpredictability and excitement into your emotional connection. It's not about the physical aspect of the relationship, though those are important, but about creating emotional engagement that keeps both of you feeling alive, excited, and connected. We've explored several ways to keep things fresh, starting with how predictability can lead to boredom. Routine might feel comfortable, but it's the unexpected moments, the ones that break the cycle, that keep the emotional spark alive. We've also talked about how emotional stimulation is more important than physical routine. Sure, the physical connection is vital, but it's the emotional surprises and moments of heartfelt connection that keep both of you emotionally invested in the relationship. We also discuss the power of spontaneity, how breaking out of your usual habits and doing something unexpected can create excitement and bring a new sense of adventure into your relationship. And let's not forget about emotional teasing, which keeps things playful and intriguing. A little emotional flirtation, a small tease, can go a long way in keeping the emotional connection fresh and exciting. Finally, we talked about creating new emotional experiences together. Whether it's a big adventure, a small surprise, or just a meaningful conversation, these moments of shared emotional engagement are what help you both continue to grow together, rather than falling into the trap of routine. So, the key takeaway here is simple. Long-term relationships require emotional stimulation to stay fresh and exciting. It's about creating moments that surprise, engage, and emotionally connect both of you. The goal isn't to completely change a relationship, but to continually find ways to nurture and deepen your emotional bond. Whether it's through spontaneity, teasing, or simply trying something new, these small emotional experiences are what keep the connection strong and the relationship vibrant. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tips on keeping your relationship exciting and emotionally fulfilling. Remember, the unexpected doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be real and intentional. Keep the emotional connection fresh, and you'll keep the relationship feeling exciting for years to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.